Hi, this is Lynn. Today I would like to talk about homepage and navigation features on the PhilScore website. So, what is PhilScore? PhilScore is the application that matches volunteers with organizations. For example, if you're a volunteer and you're visiting the website, you'll be able to find organizations that you're interested in, or you can find engagement and activities that you can sign up for the volunteering opportunities. The same thing true for the organizations as well. They can come to the website, find the volunteers, post their engagement and activities so that they can get volunteers to sign up for these activities. So basically, there are two use cases in this scenario: as a volunteer and as an organization. So before we go to two different basically route as a user on this website, I would like to first talk about the homepage, right? So when you first visit PhilScore website, the first thing you're going to see is it is the homepage. As you can see, the homepage has these images, basically carousel of images here. Obviously, these images can be updated to reflect the current events, and the current events are about volunteers or the organizations that are relevant to the PhilScore website. So the next thing you are going to see is obviously the next step is the focus on the volunteers, organizations, and our stories here. Basically, this is a static page. So you have some description about volunteers, what volunteers do, what organization does. Our stories really focus on some of the anecdotal stories about how volunteers, what their experiences are, and what the opportunities are, and the stories that really are going to engage users and volunteers with the organizations. So these can ultimately be, as a next phase in the project, be another link to various pages that talk more about the volunteers or the organizations, or a little bit more details on the stories. But for phase one of the project, this will be static and just some basic description. The next here, as you can see, there's a little bit of a modern look and feel of the web page. Once you click get started, we are going to take you to the search page where you can search for the engagement and activities. Of course, this website is about PhilScore, and here's going to be the contact information. So the two things besides the pretty pictures and description on the homepage, one of the highlights of the homepage is having these navigations at the top and also the footer at the bottom. And everything else in between is just going to be swapped with different pages, right? Because where the titles, the footers, and the navigation is going to stay the same. You can also see, let me log out here, because once you log out, you're going to see the sort of unlogged in version. If you click on search here, you are going to be asked to log in, and if you say OK, you're going to be taken to the login page. So let's go back to the home page. You can see that if you're not logged in, here's just a few things that you can see in the navigation. And let's say if you're going to be signed in, and I'm going to be signed in as an organizer here. And then I'm going to use the Google authentication to sign in, and I'm going to click on PhilScore as an organization here. The password, I believe, is already saved, so it should take me right onto the PhilScore page. So it may be a little bit confusing because the username is PhilScore. This is just one of the dummy organization account. As you can see, by default, it will land you to the organization profile page. But what I want you to focus on is some of these changes in the navigation tab. You can see list engagement, add engagement, search, community. Once you're logged in, you're going to see a lot of details specific to your profile, either you're a volunteer or an organizer. And if you let's take a quick look at a mobile view. That will be, as you could see here, the navigation route definitely changes here. Basically, navigation is going to be moved to the left. This is called navigation drawer in the view material beautify framework here. So, and then here you could see different menu items, because now you're in the sort of a mobile mode, right? That's how the page would look like in a mobile view. And the same thing here, right? So let's go back to the home page here. I want to quickly also show you what homepage look like on a mobile view. As you can see, you can still navigate through different images. You can still see different description of the items of the page, and about photos, contact us, everything that you saw on the main page. It's going to just be responsive to the mobile view. All right, so let's dig deeper into the code. One thing I also want to bring up is when you are logging as an organization, then you can log out. Let me try to log in as a volunteer. You're going to see a slightly different navigation as a volunteer because, so let's say Lineage Software in this case is a volunteer. You're going to be able to see some of the volunteer information. Okay, and the navigation is going to be slightly different. Let's log out. So once we go to the code, the first thing is let's take a look at app view. This is where all the things starts, right? In the app view, I'm gonna go over the code. When view is like basically a navigate, sort of a tree. In this case, template is a root, and within template, we're gonna have diff, containers, and other list, and vflex, and all of that components are going to be within that root, which in this case is template. And you can see the navigation drawer right here. This is the part that you saw on the left side menu when we did the mobile view. This is the navigation drawer. Okay, so let's go back, and this at the top bar is called toolbar, and you can see it in the code right here is a toolbar. So, and then let's skip the main router because I'm going to come back to you. The footer right here is what you see at the bottom of the page, right? With the copyright and field score information. The main router right here, in the main tag, there's a router view. This is where all the magic happens with view. This is where all the components of view, meaning all these different pages that you're going to see for the web page, is going to be swapped in the middle of that page, right? So we'll go back to how router view works. So let's go back to navigation. In the navigation, you can see there are multiple items. And the way it works is on the page, it's going to loop through all the item in the item list. In these case, items are menu items. And if you looked at the JavaScript here, there's a specific, if you're not logged in, these are the menu item that you'll see. There are icons, the titles, the link to those components, those pages right here in the components folder. If you're a volunteer, you're going to see a different set of menu, and if you're an organization, you're going to see a different set of menu. So the way we know once you log into organization or a volunteer is there is basically a session management that was implemented to handle this. So in the store folders right here, you'll see under modules, you'll see the user.js. This is the user class. Basically, once you log in, we save it in the session in the memory of the browser of session information about this particular user, so that when you are on different pages, we still know who you are. So, we want to make sure that we know who you are. We are able to and show you a proper navigation so that you don't have to re-log in, or you don't have to, we're not going to forget about your information. We know who you are once you log in. So this is where it all gets saved after the authentication. So also want to briefly touch base on the router view here, and under the router folder, there's an index.js. So on the app view, we briefly cover the router view portion in the main tag, right? So in order to know based on which link you click on, or whether you're signed in as an organization or as a volunteer, you are going to be taken to different navigation, and once you click on it, we are going to route you to the proper pages. In this case, for example, I can route you to the search page. How it works is in the router view, we specify, hey, if the link is profile or sign in or organizer, we are going to send you to that particular component under the router, under the components, and these pages will get properly routed, and that's how view handle, so the router view, to properly navigate the user. So this is some of the basic sort of information of the view. I also briefly want to touch base on some of the package.json. It has all the versions of frameworks that we use. For example, we use Vuetify, which use the Google Materials UI components that give you that smooth and sleek feel of the UI. You can take a look at here, Vuetify, we're using 1.2.1. For the persistent session state, for example, we are using Vuex persistent state 2.5.4 and above. And also you can look at, what node version or npm version that we are using, and all of the other libraries that we use. One thing to note though is that if I'm using a Vuetify UI framework, I cannot use some of the more common framework Bootstrap Vue because there is a conflict with Bootstrap Vue. So these are some of the things that we need to keep in mind as we developed this application. So I think that's pretty much it at a high level to cover homepage and navigation and session management. I hope this helped, and thank you very much.